Hello and welcome to this R tutorial. So we did the big part of the cleaning process. We started by creating this corpus here. Then we put all the words in lower cases. Then we removed all the numbers, all the punctuation, and we also removed all the non-relevant words. And finally, we took the roots of all the words in the 1000 reviews. So all these steps considerably simplified the words in the reviews. So thanks to all these steps here, all the simplifications, well, our final sparse matrix of features will get a much smaller number of columns. So that's good for our algorithm because we reduce sparsity. And now we have one final little step to do that will not be done to simplify even more the corpus, but that just consists of removing the extra spaces. Because by doing all these simplifications here, well, we removed some things, and those things that were removed could actually have been replaced by a space. And that would cause an extra space in the review, and therefore if we want to have perfectly clean reviews, we must remove these extra spaces. If we remove all the extra spaces, well, the columns in our final sparse matrix of features will only contain the words that are relevant and will not contain any space or anything else. So that's what we'll remove in this final step of the cleaning process. So let's do it. Again, it's going to be very simple. We'll copy this line here, copy and paste it below, and replace stem document here by strip white space. Here it is, pressing enter, and all good. Final step ready to be executed, and therefore the whole cleaning process is ready to be completed. So before we execute this line, let's have a look at a review that now has an extra space. I remember that when we removed the number in the review 841, well, we got an extra space. Here it is. Before the review was for $40 ahead, I really expect better food. And when we applied the remove numbers here to the corpus, well, the number 40 here disappeared, but it actually didn't disappear, it was just replaced by this extra space here, because indeed we can see that we have two spaces between 4 and bucks, and what we want to get is only one space here. So we're just removing the extra space here. So let's check it out. When we select this final line of code of our cleaning process, well, let's make sure that this extra space in the review 841 disappears this time for good. All right, so I'm going to press Command plus Enter to execute. Here we go. And now let's have a look at the review 841. So let's press the up arrow here to find it. Here it is. We're going to get the new version of the review 841 after we applied this strip white space to the corpus. So let's do it. Pressing Command here. Well, not only the space was removed, we can see that we don't have any extra space here, but also we get all the other steps of the cleaning process, since indeed we can clearly see that the non-relevant words were removed. So the non-relevant words were, for example, for, so this was removed, and then I think that's all. Yes, as you can see, A was removed here and I was removed here. Okay, so that's the first thing we see very clearly. And the second thing we see very clearly is the stemming, of course, because we hardly recognize the words here. Bucks was replaced by buck. It's not only about the past tense of verbs, it's also about the singular and plurals of nouns. So bucks became buck. And head was not replaced because the root of head is head. So that's why we kept head here. And then really with a Y became really with an I. So that's how R simply interpreted the root. So that's okay, it's not a mistake. And finally, expect better and food were not replaced. Because these are kind of already the roots of the words, and we cannot really simplify the words more. Alright, so that's a good example. We can clearly see what happened here. And for what we just did here with the strip white space, we can see that this extra space here was removed. Well, there is still a space here, but before there was the 4 and 2 spaces between 4 and buck. And then after the stopward step, the 4 was removed. So we can still see a space here before buck, but that's actually one space instead of 2. If we want to get even more convinced, well, we can see that we have an extra space here between love and place. This review is the first review in the previous version of the corpus before we applied the strip white space here. And so now you'll see that if we have a look at the first review of the new version of our corpus, well, this extra space here will be removed and we will get only one space between love and place instead of 2 here. Let's check it out. here we go. We can clearly see that we have only one space here instead of two spaces here. All right, so good. Removing the extra spaces worked properly, and so we are done with the cleaning process. So great, that means that now we are ready to build the sparse matrix of features. We'll do that in the next tutorial, and until then, enjoy machine learning!